Hi lovelies, Christa Leigh here and welcome back to my channel. So glad you could stop by. As you can see, today we are having our first ever story time video. And I thought what better place to have a story time video than right here in my bed. So without further ado, we're gonna get started. So I have two different times that this specific situation happened, so if I talk fast, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I can get through both of them for you guys. So today we are talking about the two different times someone tried to break into my house while I was home alone. So the first time that it happened, I was about 14 years old. It happened about right after we moved into our new house, and I was home alone. It was during the day. I don't remember where my family was. I think my parents were out of town and my sisters were both at school because they were both in college at the time. So I was home alone. I was homeschooled at the time, so I didn't have anywhere to be. I didn't have any friends because I was in a new town. So I just spent my time home alone all the time. I was in my PJs. I hadn't showered in like a day or two. Really disgusting. And someone rang the doorbell, and I wasn't allowed to answer the door when I was home alone. So I kind of just peeked around the corner to see who it was, and all I saw was this sketchy looking guy walking away from the door. And I was like, okay, so he thought I wasn't home. So there's no problem here. My alarm was set so nobody could like get into the house without my knowing it. So basically, I come back about 10 minutes later, and there's this sketchy Jeep in the driveway that's like completely run down and has like graffiti on it, and there's nobody in sight. So I freaked out a little bit. I was like, what's going on? Why is there a random car in my driveway? There's nobody home. I've never seen this car. There's nobody in the car. So I freaked out, especially because I was a young kid home alone by myself and I didn't know what else to do. So I just called my parents. I told them the situation and they were like, you need to call the police. And again, a child home alone, I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. I'm scared. And you know, I'm just a paranoid kid, so I was like, I have no idea what to do. And of course my biggest worry is someone's gonna break into the house and try to take advantage of me, and I haven't showered in 2 or 3 days. So I was nervous about that. I don't really know why, but I was. It was really weird. So then my brother had been living in the same town at the time. He doesn't live here now, but he lived on campus because I go to the same school that they all went to. And so my parents called him, and he was gonna come over and check out the house and make sure I wasn't alone. And I had some friends who were driving by the house repeatedly to see if they could see anybody before the police got there. So I had this one girl that was driving back and forth, like turning into a different neighborhood and turning around to make sure that nobody was around, but they couldn't see anything. So then my brother finally got there and I let him in. I told him the situation. I was freaking out and he was like, okay, just stay in here, turn the alarm back on, don't open the door for anybody unless it's me, and go hide somewhere. And I was like, okay. So he went back outside to go check the area around the house, and you know, it was just a creepy situation. And so then I hear like loud knocking on the door, and I go back to the door and my brother's standing there with the police, and they're like, okay, you need to stay inside while we check the perimeter and just make sure everything's okay. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So my brother waited with me until they came back, and when they came back, they said, okay, we're gonna have you go outside now to make sure that there's nobody in the house. And I was like, okay. So my brother and I went outside to just wait it out, and I'm still freaking out. Of course, I'm still freaking out that I haven't showered in like 2 days, and I look like crap. And it was just funny. It was like burning up outside. I was wearing long sleeves and fuzzy pajama pants, and I looked like crap, and it was great. They were looking inside, and some of the other policemen were outside questioning me, and one of the policemen looked at me and was like, "Is that the guy who was at your door?" And I looked up, and the guy was walking down the street towards the house. And I was like, yeah, that's him. And they go to question him, and it turns out that he was knocking on the door because he wanted to ask if he could leave his car in the driveway because it ran out of gas. And the gas station was right down the road. So he was walking to go get gas, and he didn't want to leave his car in the driveway without permission. And I felt like the biggest idiot. Like, half of the police department came out to make sure that this guy wasn't breaking into my house, and he wasn't. I felt so dumb, but I mean, I'd rather be over paranoid than under paranoid. But sometimes it gets me in trouble, especially with the next break-in story I have. This one was a lot more recent. It was a year or two ago, and my parents were out of town, and my sisters were at work. So basically what happened was I had been spending the day with one of my best friends. It was like after school or something, and we were just goofing off and having fun. We ended up going to Walmart, and she ended up getting this box of cupcakes because we were really craving cupcakes. So we brought the box home. She ended up having to leave, so she left 4 mini chocolate cupcakes on the counter for me. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I let her out, and I decided to go take a shower. So I had the alarm set, of course. I always have the alarm set when I'm home alone because it freaks me out not to. So I went to start the shower. So the shower was running. I walked through the house in like only my bra. And because I was home alone, I was gonna be comfortable if I was home alone. I was fixing to get in the shower, so why not? So I walked into the kitchen to go grab the cupcakes, and I get there. Okay, sorry if it cut off, guys, the camera died. But back into the story. So I walked into the kitchen, I was only in my bra. Weird, I know, right? Again, I was home alone, I wanted to be comfortable. Why not? So I walked into the kitchen to get the cupcakes, and like my mouth is salivating. I'm so excited for these cupcakes. And I walk over there, and they're completely destroyed. Like, one of them has a giant bite mark on it. The other one is just like smashed, and like 2 of them are completely okay, but I was just like, somebody touched my cupcakes. What? I freaked out. I was like, there's nobody home. I ran to the alarm to make sure it was still set, and it was. No cars in the driveway. There was nobody there. So I was like, freaking out, like somebody's in my house. Somebody ate my cupcakes, and I am not okay with that. So I'm just sitting there like, what just happened? I don't know. So I just calmly walk back to my room, and I lock my door, and I turn off the shower, and I'm just like, I don't know what to think. So I sat in the tub, and I was just like completely just lost. I didn't know what to do. So in my dumb mind, I thought I should share my story on Snapchat. So I got on Snapchat, and I was filming myself. So I was like, yeah, so I'm in my bathtub right now because I think someone might be in my house. I walked into my kitchen, and somebody ate my cupcakes, and nobody's home. So I'm just like, yeah, so someone's in my house. That's the automatic assumption. Like, somebody ate my freaking cupcakes. I'm like so hangry. I wanted those. And I'm just chilling in the bathtub. I get a phone call from one of my friends from school, and she's like freaking out, like, are you okay? Do you need me to come get you? Do you want to come hang out at my house until someone gets home? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, maybe, I don't know, like, I don't know if I should move, like, I don't know if someone's in here, I don't want to walk out of my room and then, like, have a murderer standing at the door ready to kill me. And so, yeah, I was a little freaked out. So I called my sister at work and I told her the situation, and I kept hearing noises in my house, like, and I hear noises all the time, because it's kind of an older house, so I should be used to it by now after living here for a while, but I'm not. So I call my sister up, I tell her the situation, she kind of starts freaking out a little bit, but she's also not too worried because they're just cupcakes. And I was just like, but they were my cupcakes and I wanted them. And she was like, okay, well, if you're seriously that freaked out, then call the police. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to, because I keep hearing things and I'm freaked out. I don't know what to do. And so I call the police and I tell them the situation, and I was like, I know this sounds really dumb and like my voice is shaking, I'm freaked out. But I was like, somebody broke into my house and ate my cupcakes. And I told them, look, I'm in high school and normally I wouldn't be doing this. This isn't a joke. I'm genuinely freaked out. I'm home alone and I'm, you know, scared. And the lady on the phone was just like, I'm sorry that happened. I'll send someone out. And I was like, okay. So then I get a phone call from my cousin, or no, it was my aunt, because I tried to call my cousin because my cousin lives right down the road from me, and she, like, I called her to see if she could come over or something, I can't remember. My sister told me to call her, and I did, she didn't answer. So then my aunt calls because my sister called her, and she says that her and my uncle are on their way to the house. And then my cousin calls me back. She's on her way home from work, and I tell her the situation. I tell her that her parents are on the way, and she's like, okay, I will come and check it out too. I will be there soon. And I was like, okay. So I'm chilling in my room. I'm freaked out. I keep hearing things. I'm trying to be quiet because I keep hearing things, but like I need to inform my family what's going on. So in order to like give them the full story, I have to leave my room, which I'm like shaking because I don't want to walk out and find somebody there. But then I'm on the phone with my cousin, and her parents pull in the driveway, and then she pulls in a few minutes later, and pretty much my entire extended family shows up. My uncle's cracking up because he's like, you're seriously freaked out because somebody touched your cupcakes. And I was like, yeah, I am. And then the police show up right after them, and they go check out the house, they look at the cupcakes, they're like, yeah, that is a little bit weird. Because, like, the damage to the cupcakes was way too substantial for it to have been a mouse, which we have a mice problem, but it's usually only in the wintertime. And I don't think it was winter when this happened, I'm not exactly sure. But it still freaked me out, and they were like, yeah, that's, you know, not something a mouse could have done. And I was just like, yeah, no kidding, I really don't know what happened. There was nobody in the house. It was just weird. So nobody was there, and my uncle made fun of me a little bit, but it was fine. He lightened the mood up a little bit. He was like, well, now you gotta go eat those cupcakes. And I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. And then finally my sister pulled in, and she's freaked out because she is very protective of me. And she just gets there and she like gives me a big hug, and she's like, I'm sorry that happened. I left work as soon as I could, blah, blah, blah. End of story. So the moral of these stories is that I'm a very paranoid person. I freak out over the littlest things. If one thing is out of place, I will automatically assume the worst. And I'm working on it. I haven't been that paranoid about things like that recently, so I guess it's okay now, but I'm not totally sure. If I have another one of these stories, I will definitely let you guys know, because stuff like this happens to me all the time for some reason. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below what your favorite part of the story was, because my life is insanity. And I would love to hear from you guys if you have any similar stories. Also, I do love to hear from you guys, so if you would like, feel free to follow me on all my social medias. I have Twitter, Instagram, and YouNow. They are all at Christa Leigh J. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tune in every Saturday for my weekly madness. And I hope to see you all next week. I hope you are having a blessed day, and I will see you soon. Bye, lovelies.